Jamal, I know Jalen and Tristan are out.
They're progressing well. They do a little bit of something every day, whether it's conditioning pieces. Jalen, not too much movement, a little bit more from Tristan.
Coach, last 15 games, you guys rank number one in limiting turnovers. What have been the keys to cutting down on mistakes?
I think it's just finding the details in our offense, on time, on target passes, guys knowing where other guys are going to be on the floor. Just finding that continuity throughout the game, just making sure when you're open you're taking the shots, but also not trying to get into traffic and then trying to make a play from there, making the decision before you hit that traffic, knowing how the defenses are playing us.
How much has Tyus Jones factored into that?
He's been good for that. He's always led the league in that assist to turnover ratio. So his ability to find guys, make quick decisions, I think it's huge for us with his poise and his steadiness on the court.
When it comes to Noah, how have you seen his confidence grow since the beginning and the way that he's able to maybe feel more comfortable on the court now?
Well, I think a lot of that for him started in training camp, taking on different defensive challenges, and then after that it's the work that he continues to put in, his ability to go down to the G and play a couple games just to get that experience, get that game feel for not being in rotation for some time, which I thought was great for him. He's done a great job working with the coaches, understanding the game plan, and knowing what he's capable of doing. He has a great game feel when he's out there.
Warriors take the most threes. You guys give up the fewest. What are the main focus areas as far as either running them off the three-point line or just making it tough on them?
Well, the hardest part with them is just trying to stay out of rotation as much as possible. They put you in scramble modes a ton because of their quick decision making, because of the guys that can beat you off the dribble, and obviously you're chasing Steph around all over the place. So our ability to understand the game plan, know who we're closing out to, and then obviously they get a lot of those offensive rebounds. So we've got to make sure we clean up the glass tonight so they're not hitting those late threes.
Hi, Coach. Janie
Hi.
McCauley from AP. Nice
Hi,
to see you.
You too.
The other night, Steph told us he gets nervous to shoot 2 free throws late in a game. I guess that makes everybody feel better, right? When even the superstars still get nervous. But Steve said that's part of it. If you don't get nervous, then there's a problem. I mean, what's your take on nerves down the stretch, even for the greats?
I mean, it means you care. You put a ton of work in knowing you're able to do it, but that doesn't change the nerves. That doesn't change the fact that you want to do right by your team. You want to make the right play down the stretch. You can do it a million times, but the nerves are still going to be there because you care about that situation and putting your team in the best position to win the game.
It's harder than maybe the average fan thinks, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
How is Jace adjusting to facing people who are even taller and more athletic than they were in college?
The great part about Jace is that he's been around it his whole life. So those things don't, I think, intimidate him, nor do they play a factor in how he approaches the game. This is a confident young man who works at his craft consistently, and I'll repeat it, he's been around it his whole life, so he's seen the NBA side of it. Size is not really an issue when it comes to how he's going to play, how he's going to defend, and his confidence level when he steps on the court.
Given that he's not the tallest person, how does he compensate for his relative lack of height on defense?
I think he's just he continues to be physical. He does the things that we ask him to do. We saw the couple tapes where he's picking up full court, got the steal, in Denver, picked up full court last game in Utah. I think that is a way to negate the fact that, you may not have the size, but you can still have that same physicality and that tenacity when you guard the basketball.
Coach, you mentioned Noah's feel for the game. Can you expand on what you mean by that? And were you surprised that he has that same feel coming from abroad and having to adjust to the NBA game?
Not surprised at all. He's shown those things throughout the game, throughout his career, being a pro early on. And, we showed clips this morning of, him coming down the court. He backs down into the post-up, realizes that the double team comes, hits Goga for the layup at the rim. And that's just a feel for the game. And he's played multiple positions, which we've asked him to do. And his ability to understand who he's guarding, how he's guarding different matchups, guarded Joker a couple times in our Denver game. So I think those are just pieces of him. That's what I mean by the feel for the game, knowing who he's guarding, knowing situations when he has the ball in his hands and when he doesn't, knowing when to cut, knowing when to rebound. Those are big pieces of how Noah plays for us.
Give the people what they want, cause I got it. I ain't lying. Locked in, I do it just for profit. I ain't lying. Loving how I break it down just like that. I ain't lying. Loving how I run the town just like that. I ain't lying. Loving how I break it down just like that. I ain't lying. Loving how I run the town just like that. I ain't lying. Who said they could top me? Step in the place, I still show. Said they have been checking for me, ain't never seen my type before. Love to see me coming, but my haters might just shed a tear. Cause when I put that hammer down, I bet you this whole room clear. Ain't no competition, it's against just me, myself, and I. Checking in the mirror, thinking, how could one chick be so fly? I'm from another dimension. Now that I got your attention, tell me who can do it better. Never the two, never the lesser. Why you all up in my face? What's the deal? Run the city just for fun, cause you know I keep it real. Give the people what they want, cause I got it. I ain't lying. Locked in, I do it just for profit. I ain't lying. Loving how I break it down just like that. I ain't lying. Loving how I run the town just like that. I ain't lying. Loving how I break it down just like that. I ain't lying. Loving how I run the town just like that. I ain't lying. Steady elevating. If you want me, send the budget now. Wanna see some commas on my statement, so we cut it now. Shorties from the west, play it close to the vest. Sound off, I wanna hear, say it with your whole chest. Talk behind my back, cause my pretty face is too much. No, you cannot.
What's up, Magic fans? I'm Dan Savage, and we're here for another edition of Magic Game Day Live. Your Orlando Magic are getting set to visit the Golden State Warriors as they continue their trip out west. This is game number 3 of a 4-game road trip for your Orlando Magic. They dropped a game in Denver to start, a highly contested one, and then got an overtime victory over the Utah Jazz. Now they'll look for the season sweep of the Golden State Warriors. If you remember correctly, the Orlando Magic earned a victory over the Warriors earlier this season at Kia Center, and now they'll look to keep that going out west. And so, Magic fans, tonight's game starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on FanDuel Sports Network. Dante Marcatelli will have the call alongside JT and Kendra Douglas. You'll make sure to tune into all that action. But in the meantime, we're getting you ready for the game right here. So get all your comments in, whether that be on YouTube, X, or TikTok. We're ready to answer all your questions, so start firing them off. I already see some of the familiar faces. Kyle Gaming, what's going on, my guy? Good to see you again. Tyus needs to be insurance like Corey Joseph. You know, that's an interesting take, but you have to remember, Corey Joseph had a good start for the Orlando Magic, played well in the playoff games, and I think with Tyus Jones, you have to remember, when the team is down bodies, you're looking for consistency, not make mistakes. And he's a guy who's giving that for the Orlando Magic right now. I'm sure guys like Jace Richardson, Jet Howard, Noah Penda, with the way that they're playing, more minutes will come to them in the future. Knowles 86, late game, I'll be watching. Absolutely, it's going to be a challenge for all of us out east. I've got a pot of coffee fired up, ready to go. Try to push this. You know, work won't be done till about 2 a.m. tonight, but we'll be right here getting it going. Brian, thanks for working late tonight, Dan. No problem. You know, that's what it's all about. East, West, you know, we're ready to handle it all. And that's a shout out to all the fans overseas, whether they be in London, that come out to every game or watching, even though it might be 2 a.m. for some of those fans. Will Dawson, what's up? Will, good to see you once again. So let's take a look back real quick at Saturday night at Utah. The Magic came away with that overtime victory, 128 to 127. Survived some big shots from Keontae George. Jazz won the rebounding battle. They had a number of offensive rebounds. They were big from the field, came on late with some big three-point shots. Magic were able to outdo them in most of those categories, thanks to big shots by Desmond Bane, a near triple-double once again for Paolo Banchero, pressure on the basketball by Anthony Black, and, you know, really came down to some big stops down the stretch, whether it be from AB, Wendell, and then obviously the game-winning bucket for Desmond Bane with 0.9 seconds left in the overtime session. As we get ready for tonight's game, What are some of the storylines you're looking at? I'll tell you my number one storyline for tonight's game. It's really a tale of two stats coming together. And one of the first things we're going to look at is first Paolo Banchero, who put up 23 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. Not the field goal percentage that Paolo would want, but we're seeing him steadily improve, get more into that all-star level form. So that's good to see from Paolo Banchero. Even when the shots aren't falling, he's finding a way to impact the game. And that's a sign of a great player. That's what we know about Paolo. Regardless of what's going on with his shot, he's going to have a huge impact. And that's what he did. Field goals weren't going in, got to the free throw line, got rebounds, set up his teammates. There's so much gravity to his game. And look, there were some shots he set up his teammates with. He could easily have 15, 16 assists with the way he was moving the basketball. So shout out to P5. He's looking more and more in form. Good to see that minute restriction go away. I think the next step for him is that conditioning level continuing to elevate, continuing to see the game better, and the shots starting to fall. The number one storyline for me, though, tonight against this Golden State team is the Warriors put up more three-point shots than any other team in the NBA. They take over 44 threes a game, and they knock down 16 of them per outing. The Magic, meanwhile, hold their opponents to a league-low 32.1 attempts from three this season, a category they also led last season. So it's going to be a tale of two teams, one that likes to chuck up three-point shots and the other one that does about everything to take them away. So it's going to be a really intriguing matchup. Now, last time when the Magic came out on top at Kia Center earlier this season, 121 to 113 for those who forget, the Magic limited Golden State to 13 triples on 36 attempts, both well below their season average. You want a way that the Magic could come away with a victory tonight, it's by doing exactly that once again. So look, Golden State's known for a high-powered offense. The Magic averaging more points per game this season with a better field goal percentage, dominating the glass as they always do. The Warriors getting more points off turnovers. The Magic with their second chance points led by guys like Wendell Carter Jr., Goga Batadze, Paolo Banchero, able to do that. And creating points off turnovers, that guy right there, Anthony Black, is a big factor in that as well. So what are some of the things you're looking at? We'll get to some of the comments now. Paolo needs to be more aggressive. Feel there are stretches in the game where he's non-existent. Defensively needs to have his presence felt. I don't quite agree with that sentiment. I think his presence is always felt on the floor. I think you have to look at the way teams are defending him. The game plan starts with P5, and it's a little easier to overload the side that he's on and show extra bodies when Paolo's out there without Franz, without Jalen Suggs, without some of these extra creators. That's why it's up on guys like Desmond Bain, Anthony Black, to step up their game. When teams do that, Desmond Bain did that last game against the Jazz. That's why he had 32 points, was such a factor. P5 with all that gravity. Wishing a speedy recovery for the Wagners. Absolutely. We can't get those guys back on the court soon enough. Franz makes an impact on both ends. Mo with his energy. It's going to be good to get an update on those guys when the team gets back here in Orlando. Anthony Black should be in big talks for Sixth Man of the Year or Most Improved Player. Look, you could make it talks for that and off defensive team, because that's where it starts with AB. His aggressiveness on both ends of the floor, when he's doing that, good things happen. And we saw once again that statistic holds true. Anthony Black over 20 points per game. Magic come away with a victory in Utah. That's usually a key for his success. Want to see P5 work his double team strategy. I think we've seen that a little bit the last few games. Flirting with triple doubles in both. The double teams come. He's moving the basketball. It's not only up to him to do that, also up to his teammates to knock down shots when he gets them open looks. And I think as time goes on, he'll get more and more comfortable and in rhythm. First, second, or third defensive team. We got a lot of time left in the season. I personally believe Anthony Black has all the tools to be a first all-team defensive player in the NBA. Now it's up to him to go that. I think with the consistency level we're seeing right now, it's probably more of a second or third team guy. He has the tools in his belt, and as his career progresses, I think he could be a first-team all-defensive team player in the NBA. There's no question about that. There are a few players at his size as he continues to grow, it seems like every summer, that have the ability to move their feet so quickly and get into passing lanes and really be disruptive. AD sets the tone on both ends, especially with Jalen Suggs out. Prime, Paolo, the floor general, is working for us. The guys need to hit their spots. Couldn't agree more. We're going to see P5 continue to build that rhythm with teammates. You have to remember he missed 10 games with that groin injury. 6 games back now, we're starting to see him round back into form. Want to see P5 posterize somebody? Absolutely. Why not start with that one tonight? Got fans at the game. Yep, absolutely. You can see them sitting back there getting some early look at guys like Tyus Jones, Anthony Black, P5 getting their work in, getting ready for tonight's game against the Golden State Warriors. And I'll tell you what, at the Chase Center, those seats aren't cheap either to get a few early look at the game. What time is the game? Nathan's asking on TikTok. 10 p.m. Eastern time, so it's going to be a late one for everybody stepping up. Pregame will start at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on FanDuel Sports Network, so you make sure you want to tune into that one. Some people talking about Steph Curry tonight. Steph Curry is going to have a big impact on this game. There's no question about it. He's once again leading the league in three-pointers made, 5 a game, and attempted 12.3 per contest, putting up to close to 29 points per game. Steph's still getting it done at this later stage of his career. He's an 11-time All-Star, 2-time MVP. Because he puts up numbers like this, he's such an effective player. We know that about Curry. And so the Magic are going to have to do everything to take him out of his rhythm. And that's going to be a little bit harder than that first matchup because, earlier you could throw Jalen Suggs at him. You could throw Franz Wagner at times down the stretch, show him a bigger body. Both those guys are going to be out tonight, and so you're going to have to rely on Anthony Black to stay out of foul trouble, get over those moving screens that Draymond's inevitably going to set. He knows the officials aren't going to call all of them. He's going to be setting moving screens all night. You have to navigate that without fouling, and that's going to be a big task on the shoulders of Anthony Black to disrupt the rhythm of Steph Curry, especially at home where he loves the shooting lines, and we see him hit shots from half court during warm-ups from the tunnel. That guy is nearly unstoppable, so a big task on Anthony Black's shoulders tonight. We need to start calling Dell double Dell. That's a good point, Lewis. Dell just Mr. Consistency for the Orlando Magic this season. Not only has he been defending well, switching on the perimeter and rebounding effectively, his scoring has stepped up too. And I really feel like Dell is such a cerebral player in that he knows guys are down. He has to be more aggressive offensively. He did that in Denver. He tried to do that in Utah, come up with some big offensive rebounds and putbacks and get to the free throw line down the stretch. So Dell, has been that guy for the Orlando Magic that's just been level Mr. Consistency throughout the early part of the season. Draymond about to talk his smack to Paolo. Look, Draymond's going to talk smack to everybody. It's a matter of how you navigate that with Draymond Green. But you could see the numbers for Wendell Carter Jr., 12.4 points, 7.7 rebounds, 2.0 assists, while shooting close to 55% from the field and up amongst the leaders on the team in three-point percentage as well. Dell's doing a little bit of everything this season. I think Draymond is the player to watch tonight. I think they could limit Steph. Look, those two are attached to the hip. They're, been in lockstep for a long time. If you could disrupt the rhythm between those two, absolutely can be a big night for the Orlando Magic. Jace has been great off the bench. Absolutely. Whether you want to talk about Jace Richardson, Noah Penda, Jet Howard on this road trip, all three of those youngsters have played a role so far. And I think they're proving to Magic head coach Jamal Mosley that they should be in the rotation, even when guys get back, especially in some spot starts, because, Noah Penda, just Mr. Energizer Bunny affecting the game in a number of ways. And Jace is well above his years. Looks like a pro when he goes out there, doesn't try to do too much, and that's what you love to see from him. Good luck for the Magic. Try to stay up late. Isn't that the story for us all? Me, producer Jason Dewberry, we're talking about how we going to stay up for this one, remain ready. We'd like to see your tips for how you stay up for a late Magic game. Drop them in there. I could use all the advice because usually for me, it's a shot of espresso before the game starts, maybe a little snack at halftime, get that sugar and blood level going. But I like to hear what you guys do as well. AB can limit Steph for sure, but Suggs is usually the one who can fully contain him. Look, it's with guys like Steph, I don't think anybody fully contains him. But what you really like to have is a plethora of bodies that you could throw at him. Jalen Suggs is more of a handsy, get in your face type of defender. He's really aggressive, and then AB uses his length, so it's great when Steph starts to get comfortable, finds his way around Jalen. All right, we'll throw AB at him. He's got a different body. Okay, you're used to that. Here's our versatile Swiss Army knife in Franz Wagner. 6'10" that can, really move his feet and stay with you. So it's nice when you have a plethora of guys that you could throw at Steph Curry as the Magic do when they're fully healthy. They're not going to have that luxury tonight, so a lot falls on AB's shoulders as we've addressed here. Penda is passionate, absolutely. You feel his impact when he steps on the floor, and that's a thing that you can't say about a lot of rookies in this league. You could see why the Magic made that package to move up to get him, and why I loved what Jeff Weltman and Anthony Parker did on draft night. Great move by them to acquire Noah Penda. Penda is Pantero Jr. He's tough. Similar body types, but very different games. Penda is more of a scrappy, junkyard dog at this stage of his career, while Paolo's a cerebral playmaker. But yes, Penda has a lot of different guys on this team that he can look and steal elements from, Paolo being one of them, because they have similar body types in a way, both big body forwards. Penda making scouting reports. Yeah, that's great to see. That's what happens in this league. You start to do things well. Other teams are going to put you on the scouting report, find ways to take the things that you like to do away. So that's part of what he'll experience over the course of his rookie season this year. Draymond loves Paolo. He's legit his biggest fan. Yeah, Draymond has spoken very highly of P5 in a number of press conferences. I think, as you've seen from his podcast, Draymond admires youngsters that, really value what the guys before them have done and that lean into that. Paolo is one of those guys. He's taken advice from guys like Melo, Kevin Durant over the course of his young career. So I think that earns the respect of guys who've been doing it a long time, like Draymond. NBA don't want to see the Magic fully healthy come playoff time. I fully agree, and this is what one of the things I think about being banged up early at this point in the season can do. This is great opportunity for guys like Noah, Jace, Jet to prove they belong in the rotation, build up rhythm, make the most of their minutes. So that way when guys like Franz, Mo, Jalen, Tristan come back into the lineup, you have a plethora of guys who are in rhythm, have experience, are ready to go. I think that's a great point. I think they're setting it up to have a lot of success in a deep playoff run. Having Isaac and Penda in a lineup could be really good defensively. That's a great point. Now, look, at this stage in the career, it's a little risky to put a guy like Noah Penda in a last-second defensive situation. But I think as time goes along and he experiences more and more things, the Magic can throw out a great defensive lineup to close a game in a situation like in Utah where you just need one last stop. And you could throw out guys like Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Noah Penda, Wendell Carter Jr. The list goes on, Franz Wagner, to just really disrupt the team and break them out of their rhythm. Whatever, the solution calls for to stop it, the Magic have the type of defensive bodies that can go out there and get the job done. So that's really encouraging to see. There's a lot of tools in the toolbox for Magic head coach Jamal Mosley when the season comes down the stretch. Penda's older than a lot of other rookies. That's a good point. And he played professionally at a young age overseas. There's a lot on those guys' shoulders when it comes to that. So, yes, absolutely. And he plays older than he is. Both rookies have earned coach's trust. Yep, they're getting there. And that not only comes with what they do in games, it comes what they do on the practice court, in the training room. All those things go into earning a coach's trust. You can't speak more highly of the Magic rookies than Magic head coach Jamal Mosley has so far. They're really earning it. That's the key word there, earning. Won a 4 to 5 game series against Boston. Love that. I think somebody mentioned that last time. It might have been you, Lewis. I'm not sure. But would love to see that. Tyus sinking floaters in practice. Look, over the course of his career, Tyus Jones has been a phenomenal floater shooter and corner three-point shooter. So I think as time goes on, he gets more and more comfortable with the Magic. We're going to see those numbers trend up because over the course of his career, that's been two areas where he's knocked down shots for many, 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 many years. How about the Kung Fu Panda nickname? I love it. With the way he's swatting away basketballs, both in steals and blocks. A lot of people call them stocks. He had 4 of them with 2 blocks, 2 steals in that Utah game. So Kung Fu Panda could be a nickname that sticks there. Dan, do you think that Panda was a first-round snub and Jace should have been in the lottery? Very good question, Zayden. I definitely had Jace as a lottery type of player. When I talked to a lot of scouts or a lot of people that felt he had that type of pedigree, the knock on him was just his size. So there's some teams that didn't need a smaller guard on their roster. So when you look at how you're constructing a roster and the teams that were drafting before the Magic kind of lucked into a situation where there were some teams that were avoiding smaller guards that just didn't fit into the way they were constructing their roster and what their needs were. And so the Magic benefited by that, by getting a guy that they would have actually, had they kept their 16th overall pick and not traded it for Desmond Bane as part of that package. Ace Richardson is a guy that they would have considered there. Instead, they ended up getting him in the 20s. So, yes, absolutely. I think he was a guy that should have been a borderline lottery pick. And I think he's going to carry that chip on his shoulder. And then Penda, absolutely. He's a guy that the Magic had as a late first-round pick. One, it's harder to measure up what those guys do overseas, and that's why historically we see a lot of those guys slip in the draft and then outperform their draft slot. Need any evidence? The Magic just saw that to start this trip with a guy like Nikola Jokic. He doesn't go to later in the draft, whereas had he played at the collegiate level, had come up in the AAU circuit, etc., probably goes a lot earlier. So, the Magic hoping for one of those overseas steals in Noah Penda to a degree. If only the Magic players could see these comments and comment back. Who knows? Who knows what these guys are doing in the locker room before the game? Wouldn't put it past them to check out Courtside Countdown, Magic Game Day Live. So, Magic fans, we appreciate all your comments. We're going to be back here tomorrow doing this again as the Magic get set for the Portland Trailblazers, second night of a back-to-back. That's going to be a tough matchup. But take care of business first up against the Golden State Warriors. It's going to be a late one. It's going to start at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You're going to want to watch that on FanDuel Sports Network with Kendra, who's there, JT, Dante Marcatelli on the call. And then we'll see you here once again tomorrow, and see you next time.
Another dimension. Now that I got your attention, tell me who can do it better. Never the two, never the lesser. Why you all up in my face? What's the deal? Run the city just for fun, 'cause